So we're going to demonstrate how to perform a string test on the PV1525. So a couple of things. When the unit first turns on, we come to our home and test screen. We can perform any test by simply selecting the correct button from the radial wheel. So you can see tests 1, 2 and 3 relate to our string test, our DC power test or our continuity. For the demonstration, we're going to perform the string test. So to enable the string test, we simply press the left button and that takes us into our string test mode. Instantly, we can see a readout of the irradiance values from our Solar Survey 200 LR. So at the moment, we can see we have 330 watts per meter squared, as well as our panel and ambient temperatures all coming from the device. At the moment, we don't have anything connected, so we will take our leads, make the connections, and then run the test. So firstly, we're going to connect the positive PV lead, the negative PV lead, and our insulation resistance output lead. So we then need to make the connections to the panel and frame. So at the other end of the leads, we have MC4 connectors and a crocodile clip for connecting to the frame. So we'll go ahead and put the crocodile clip onto the frame, and we will make our connections to the PV array using the PV terminals. Now, once we connect back to the PV1525, we can firstly see that because the panel is generating voltage, we get a warning sign that that voltage is greater than 30 volts. So that's telling us potentially we have hazardous voltage on the test terminals. But now we're ready to test. So a couple of things before we start the test. Firstly, we need to determine what voltage we want to perform the insulation resistance test. So we can cycle through the available options. They range from skip, so if you don't want to do the insulation resistance, you can skip. We can perform a 250 volt test, 500 volts, 1000 and 1500 volts. In our case, we will do the voltage test at 1000 volts. Also, because we're now connected to the panel, we can see instantly we get a reading of the live generated voltage. And because the voltage has been detected on the device, the power button or the start button has now gone green to indicate we are ready to be performing the test. So we're ready to go. All that's left for us to do is press the green button. We get a spinning circle to say the test is underway, and within 3 seconds we get our test results. So we can see the open circuit voltage was 534 volts. We had 6.21 amps and our insulation resistance was 32 megs, greater than 1 meg, so indicated with a pass that the test was good. From here, we can now go ahead and save the result. We press the save button. We can then add 3 parts of information: a site reference, a inverter number, and a string number. So this gives us complete control over exactly what panels or modules we tested in what array. Hit the save button. That is then saved to memory, and we can download that to the PV Sync mobile app to then transfer to further software or create reports.